Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Animate, working on our special project here, parodying, satirizing, mocking, if you will, Star Wars The Force Awakens. No, you heard correct. It's Star Wars The Force Awakens that we're dealing with here, not The Last Jedi. Not the Solo movie that was just promoted the other day at the Super Bowl. No, we're way back in, what was it, 2016? 2015? When did The Force Awakens come out? Oh my god, this is embarrassing. Google, my friend, be my companion here. Star Wars The Force Awakens. Awakened? I put a D in there. I'm sure Google will fix things for me. 2015. Wow. Is that right? Yeah, December 18th, 2015. How time moves. Forward, backwards, in cartwheels and somersaults. Crazy, crazy stuff. Anyway, been doing a lot of animating lately. I kept my paws off of this project though, so that I could do it in front of the camera. You don't want to make too much progress off camera. I'm trying to stick to the routine, stick to the format, stick to the plan, in order to make progress. But I've been animating off camera on other projects, so this is coming back in now. Seems like a lifetime ago, even though it was just the weekend. But it looks pretty obvious here that we've been working on these hands, trying to get them in line with our source material here. So we'll just quickly blast through this and get moving on. I guess we'll move on to his shoulders and arms next, and then his little coveralls there, and get a nice complete looking Mickey related package ready to go. I was doing a lot of thinking. Even though I wasn't animating this particular series over the weekend, I've been doing a lot of thinking about how I'm going to handle this as we near closer and closer to... Because right now all we've been doing really is baseline, throwing down some lines, basic stuff. Not a lot of animating and timing things out to sync up with audio. Even though the audio is going to be very minimal. We haven't done a lot of storyboarding and trying to figure out exactly how everything is going to be paced. How long are we going to hold on Mr. Abrams? How long until we pull back to reveal that Mickey's there? You know, how are we going to set up the idea of the yes men waiting for Mickey? I've been thinking a lot about that. I know how to do it all. I know what we need to do, but how are we going to handle recording it? Am I going to record it? Am I going to do it off screen? What's the plan going to be there? And I don't really know. I know a lot of the audio work I'm not going to record. It's just going to be far too complicated for my feeble little brain to understand how I'm going to, search for free sound clips, start editing those sound clips down to, because a lot of times there's a big long file that's like maybe 5, 10, 15 seconds long that I just want to pull one particular sound from. And doing all that on camera would just be ridiculous. I'd end up, we don't make a lot of progress in these videos, and I don't want to end up with 10 episodes on sorting out one basic clip selection procedure there, and editing that clip down to something ultimately usable. So the audio stuff is going to be off camera, guaranteed, 100%. At least for now. I mean, if I get better as I improve, get quicker, more accustomed to not just the audio part itself, but the recording thing, If I'm better at recording, it'll mean I can do more. And that is the ultimate goal. So, I mean, there will be more things that are filmed than now when we're in the infant stages of this process. But until then, audio off the table. You're going to come in one day into a video, boom, there's going to be audio in already. Then I thought, how long do I want to go? This is let's animate. It's not let's edit, right? It's not let's edit and render in another piece of software and and all that. So, and how I do things for animation wise, how much is done in the animation software, and how much is done in sound editing stuff, and how much is done in the video editing procedure always varies. I don't have a standard procedure. Sometimes I'll put the audio tracks in here, even though I can only handle 2 at a time. Sometimes I'll do the 2, get this couple of scenes that I wanted, then remove those. So it's a lot of hodgepodge, mix and match type thing that ends up happening when I actually get into the later stages of the process to create a video. So I don't know how far, again, this is Let's Animate. I don't know how far I'm going to peel back the curtain, so to speak, because, is that right? Because I don't have that sort of standard operating procedure that I can say, oh yeah, I'll show you everything up until X. Sometimes, the stuff before X is going to be just as animation worthy as anything else. So if I set a hard limit, we could be missing out on a lot of content. For right now, I'm going to focus on getting the scenes set and charactered up with all the characters and props that for inside jokes and stuff that I want, and then maybe some basic animation stuff. We'll get Mickey's clap. I can sit here myself and just do a slow clap that we can record to and put in here, and we can get his clapping going, assuming we've established how long this particular scene right here in this particular blue box, how long it's going to be. Maybe some storyboarding type stuff. Problem is I do that by hand. That's not done on the computer. I do that in notebooks and stuff. I'll draw it out how long I want this here, when I cut to the next scene, how long I hold before a particular audio sequence comes in. So a lot of the time is done off screen and off the computer in general. I don't necessarily do that. What am I trying to say here? In a technologically advanced way. It's done very, very old-fashioned, pen and paper type stuff. So that might not translate. That might not make its way to the recording screen here. But basic stuff we're going to try to do on screen, right? It's Let's Animate. It's not meant as a tutorial, but I have no problem doing some sort of filling some kind of a tutorial-esque role for someone who's maybe trying to learn the basic ropes of how all this works. Because I'm not going to profess to be even necessarily good at any of this. It's just meant to be like a nice, soothing, relaxing, hopefully interesting, hopefully funny set of videos that you can enjoy on your own time. This hand looks bizarrely huge. I guess it does in the thing as well, but I want to pull this in just a bit. Bring you in under control just a bit here, Mr. Mouse. There we go. This should go a long way. Just bringing some order. Look at the rendering. Yeah, it's helped, but it's a little bit... In the rendering, it's still a little bit big. But we're going to leave that for now. We're going to plop in a new vector. We're going to plop in a new vector here. And we're going to get carrying on with this video. Yeah, I kind of burnt through a lot of topics I was talking about in another set of videos earlier. About camping and about the weather. It sounds so boring, but I guess it ultimately was what I was talking about, the weather. Hot versus, or dry versus humid heat, and damp cold, and sort of the impact of each of those on me. It sounds boring just talking about it, but it's some of the stuff that I was facing this weekend, weather-related stuff, because it got brutally cold for a while, and I liked it. It was good. It was, and I like a nice brisk cold. It was about 30 below, which is much more severely cold than it was a couple weeks ago when I was complaining about the cold. And the reason why I was complaining before is because it was a very damp cold. It was only about 20 below, but it felt like it just cut you to the core. It just tore you a new one in the old bone department there. And I found myself now being like, oh yeah, 30 below, I can handle that. That's all good, because it's so different. But we've already exhausted that topic. I'm not going to force you through it again. That would just be cruel and unusual. So we're going to move on and not discuss that stuff. I can just plop this down. This is where I get into trouble, because if I do a shoulder layer now that I just cheat and hide this big chunk here, like instead of pulling it around the fingers here, if I just cheat and throw this big black blob layer in behind the hands, and then let the outline of the hands create the illusion of his arm and shoulder and elbow and everything, and the crotch of his arm here, then it's going to look fine as long as nothing moves. The problem I then run into is whenever I want to make something move now, I guess I'm going to have to do, when he starts his clap, I'll have to do a switch layer and put these shoulders and hands and things in a switch layer that goes from the arms cross pose to a clapping pose. Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do, because this should look relatively fine now, assuming we can get the color right. There we go. Yeah, so it gives it a bit of an illusion of an arm, because his fingers are kind of folded in that crease, and tricks your brain and lets your brain fill in the details as to what's actually happening here. Right? He's not holding on to this big wad of black here. It's an illusion. We'll throw in some white highlights too. We will. This is yeah, we'll probably even just make it like a lighter color black, and then start throwing in some highlights. Not my strong point, but we can get it done. We can get the job done. We can get the job done well enough to trick your brain. Your feeble little human brain won't stand a chance against the might of my animating. No, I don't. That's not something I believe, but it makes for a mildly funny sentiment anyway. So yeah, I was doing a lot of animating, not a lot else going on this weekend. It was just a lot of animating, a lot of checking Reddit to see how my my post to the circle jerk went, and I was surprised at how long it held on collecting views. I didn't think. I thought once it got buried at the bottom, I thought maybe I had 20 minutes or so to collect. Maybe longer than that, a couple hours. But I mean, it went on the next day. It was still getting views, and I thought I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. Still mixed reaction to it. It's still kind of, I find kind of funny and strange. Not something I wasn't predicting. I was predicting it would get ignored, and you know, maybe sort of a couple of likes and upvotes. But in reality, what happened was almost the opposite. I mean, it went on and on, far longer than I thought, still being viewed, but people didn't seem to like it. Like, it was, you know, it only has like a 50-something% upvote history, which I thought was strange. I thought either people wouldn't care, wouldn't even vote. If you downvoted it, you must have really hated it. Was my theory, but I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch with the Reddit meta, and what it means to, you know, were people downvoting it as a joke? Were people downvoting it because they actually hated it? I don't know. Either way, it was surprising, and it's kind of made me hesitant to release any more there. and maybe just stick to other forms of distribution. But I mean, it was the point was it was supposed to be as a comedy tribute to one of the NLSS stories that I found so funny and entertaining, and it ended up just either not resonating, or it could also have been too far removed. The idea, well, this was an LSS from 2016. Who flippin' cares? Give us a break, buddy. Which is valid. I mean, nothing wrong with your opinion. Go ahead, have all the opinions you want. But it was surprising. That's all. Just leave it at that. I'm gonna move these buttons over, and then drop this down to 1, and throw some yellow in here, some yellowy goldy, some goldy goodness, some good as gold. Good enough right there. So yeah, if I totally misjudged the audience that I was aiming for, I'm for a world of trouble, as far as I can tell. Because it wasn't meant as a way of self-promoting or anything. It was meant legitimately as like a tribute to these guys, the people involved. I was worried that the red on red here, from the chair onto the jumpsuit would just kind of blend in. Oh, sorry. I guess I need another cup of coffee. I got to put another pot on, but I thought the red on red might not be too favorable here, and it seems to not be too bad. Good enough that we're gonna leave it anyway. I'm looking at the rendering here. You can't quite see, but I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. Of course, we need a needs to be in his other face. There we go. Yeah. So he does that, then he's going to switch over to his mocking, sort of intimidating face. Oh, very unprofessional. I got a big old stretch here, leaning back. Yeah. Yeah, so then he'll switch to his sinister smile, and then start to slow clap, and we'll have to come up with a new way of arranging these arms for when the clap is about to start. Because these black blobs that I've put in here aren't going to cut it as appendages that can be bone rigged and put into place properly. They're going to have to be treated with a little more care if they're going to start to move. So they're going to have to come back and unblob them and turn them into arms, full arms that actually are folded over. This shape instead of this blob right here, this rounded triangle. Turn it into an arm that comes down this way and then links back up over with this glove and comes around, and then the same here for this arm, and then maybe leave a section in the middle that's just a chest, a blank sort of deal. Now on our source material, these are supposed to be like overall or cover overalls, right? So they should have almost like a red strap. Yeah. It's like a shortcoming in our overalls here, our source material, our reference material. Just gonna quickly look on Google on the fly here. I might have to throw in those straps. Mickey Mouse outfit. I wonder what I'm gonna get for Google searching this. This could be scary. No, he doesn't have straps. Who am I thinking of? Of course, the problem is I search Mickey Mouse outfit, so I'm getting like Halloween costume type stuff. Everything from babies to disturbed looking, like older men who look very perturbed to be in these outfits. Oh, this guy looks really happy. He's bearded and standing in front of a barn door. He looks like he's ready to cook. It's like an apron that he's wearing. And then there's some typical, of age females that are looking interested in being Mickey Mouse for some reason. But I don't see, here's just a plain Mickey Mouse. Yeah, they are just pants. They're not overalls. or coveralls. I thought they would have straps. Mickey Mouse pants. What do we get out of that? They are just pants. Huh. Yeah, and I'm looking at just Mickey Mouse, and he is just wearing a big old pair of pants. And he's topless, basically, because he's got the same... Wow, that's interesting. I'm also seeing that I'm going to have to fix the ears here, which I knew I was going to have to do, but I feel like it would be most simple to just give a nice band of lighter color around the tops here on the outside. Maybe to a lesser extent the same thing just under here. Looking at some more source material here. Yeah, they're kind of like, there's one here that has just a lighter band from here to here and from here to here. I don't know what that would look like if we did this right now real quick. Pop that on there, pop that there, pop this up here, draw this to here, to here, to here, and pull that up. Good, no, different. Well, actually we should pull that off. That would make it bigger. And then we'll pull this up, make this a little tinier. Probably delete that point entirely. Pull these down. I'm going to render this on, you can't even see it. So, what do? We make it lighter, or we unshade it maybe? There's a little bit there, but I don't know. Pull it down and make it a touch bigger. Touch bigger. You know what? We can have two here. One that fits up in this area, one that fits there. Yeah, that's better. Much, much better. So now we'll just delete that. And then we'll copy and paste this over. Swing this around in here. Bob's your uncle. I actually have an Uncle Bob, so I'm allowed to say that. Just kidding. You can say Uncle Bob even if you don't have an Uncle Bob. I won't report you to the, I don't know who, the reporting police. There we go. So I'm happy with the ears. I'm happy with the face. I'm happy with the body. We're going to have to kind of pivot the whole layer, maybe? So he's kind of like this, kind of like this. It's a little too low. So we're just going to grab his body and drag his jumpsuited butt down a little bit. There we go. If I preview that, much better. Or what I could do too actually is just move this table up. That would be the easiest thing to do. You get the impression he's sitting in a throne. You get the impression he's not happy. You get the impression he's with Walt Disney, the Walt Disney Corporation. And you get the impression that he's in some kind of a room, which will be reconfirmed once we already see the other room first. Yeah. Shouldn't be an issue. I'm going to call this episode successful. We'll be right back in a couple of seconds. It'll be a day for you. And we'll dive right back in, and maybe what we'll do is start working on the switch layer here. What are his arms going to look like when he switches over to start clapping? We'll stick with the Mickey Mouse train here. We'll not jump around, and until then, thanks very much. See you soon.